And we're back with our third game of Legacy of You, hoping I can finally achieve victory in this game. I've lost this game every time I've played it. I've played it 3 times, although I restarted for the sake of doing this playthrough. So this is technically my 4th play, although the 3rd in the sequence over here. But I'm hoping I can win, and I'm hoping I can win with 2 different things. First of all, we have a new upgrade in place. We have this over here, which is going to give us more income every single round. Also, I'll be playing it more correctly in the sense that in the past, when I've been placing workers onto these hut zones, I have not actually been getting... I've not been getting those workers back, and that's something that I've been doing wrong. I've been expending the workers, which is not what you're supposed to do. So playing it correctly and the additional modification means I might actually win. That said, another thing worth noting before we dive into this gameplay is the rest of the series of Legacy of You. I will be continuing to film through it all the way through until I win or lose. But the rest of them, this is going to be the last one that I host over here on the Board Game Co channel. The rest of them will be hosted over on Camp Co-op. Camp Co-op is where I play through a bunch of campaign games. Myself, Professor Meg, we dive into a bunch of things from Final Girl to Gloomhaven to Roleplay Adventures to Legacy of You to a whole bunch of different games. And the rest of the Legacy of You series will be filmed on over there. So if you want to dive into the rest of the adventures and see how it all fares, you can subscribe over there. I'll throw a link down below. And with that, let's go ahead and start off. I'm not doing a ton of rules. Ideally, if you're watching the 3rd gameplay so far, you hopefully know what's going on, or alternatively, I recommend starting off with the first one so you can get a bit more of an overview. But we're going to start this first round by taking income. So we're going to gather 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to gather a white worker. We're going to gather a, I can't remember what they're called anymore because it's been a few days since I played, plus a provisions for every one of these. No, plus provisions. So we got to gather provisions, and that's going to be our income the first round. We're also going to gather this one over here because we get additional provisions of income, and now we can start doing things. Now, as usual, first thing I tend to buy this worker for free because it costs me no provisions. May as well gather it. So we have the additional worker, and we're trying to figure out how to take down this particular bandit over there. We need to stay in control, but we don't have the workers we need. We simply don't have a blue, and a yellow worker. So I imagine we'll be losing to them that round, which means instead I want to see if I can get my hands on some wood. If I can get my hands on some wood, then we could ignore the fact that they're going to destroy us. But fortunately, we have our old man. Old man's over here. He's going to give us some wood over there. So perfect. We got the wood we need to be able to be mindful of that person. We could ignore them there. We're going to go ahead and gather 2 workers because I love getting workers, and these cards will give me 2 reds over here, which will be useful. And then we'll go ahead and gather a provisions because I don't imagine we're cashing this person in for more than what they have over there. So we already got some things going over here. We need to gather more white workers. We need to gather more of those. What are they called again? They're called the cowrie shells. Cowrie shells. And so we're trying to figure out what to do. It's been a few days. I need to mentally prep myself for where I am. So now, this time we're going to be using the worker action spaces effectively, or correctly, I should say. But first, if I can get my hands on some clay, I can't get my hands on clay. We're not going to be able to build any buildings this round because we don't have any brick, which is fine. I can deal with that. I think I'm just going to go ahead and place a worker over here, gather provisions, and then we're going to go ahead and spend provisions. Let's go ahead and spend 2 provisions to get these 2 workers in the first row. I usually don't pay 2 provisions for a worker if I can avoid it, because I can usually use those provisions more effectively elsewhere. So we're going to do that, and that is the end of the first round. That's it. Round 1 is done. We're going to go through the cleanup steps over here. So we just did the tug actions. We're going to return the barge if used, which is not relevant yet. We're going to suffer attacks. In this case, we're going to bribe them with 1 wood, so we don't have to suffer an attack. And then we're going to refresh the card row, which means these will shift down, and we're going to go ahead and put out new workers, and we have to put out a new enemy too, so this will slide down. A new enemy enters play, and then we're going to go ahead and put some new workers in play. Let's move this deck of cards because it's kind of in the way. Then we're going to go to the next step. We're going to take income again. So again, 4 more cards, hoping to get some brick this time. Wrong pile. Now we do have to make sure to actually build something this round, or we're going to be in trouble. Now we are going to get our workers back, which is nice. So we are going to get this worker back, which I've never had happen before. And then we're going to take another white worker, another cowrie shell, another provisions, and another provisions because of this spot over here. Now, honestly, I forgot last round. I probably should have put one of these workers into play in terms of getting resources or whatnot, but I didn't. So, that's that. I think we're going to go ahead and dump this one into play over here. So we're going to put this into play so I can start getting the income of a black worker every single round, which is going to be helpful. Worker economy in this game is everything. And then I don't mind getting a brick and a cowrie shell as income as well. So we're going to go ahead and tuck that underneath this card as our income and cowrie shell person over there. And then we're going to take the wood and the black worker for those. So now a few things are happening over here, but let's go ahead and show you how this plays out. We're going to discard those. We kind of need another... We need another white worker right now, but we don't have them. Let's go ahead and see how this plays out. So we're going to go ahead and pay the 2 white workers we do have, and then the 2 cowrie shells, and we're going to resolve this place over here. That's going to immediately give us. Oh wow, we're going to break a card already. That's not cool. We're going to go ahead and take a brick, which is going to be helpful, as well as a wood, which is going to be helpful, and then we're going to break a card, which means get rid of one of these, which I don't love. We're going to flip this over. And there's nothing there. I don't know why I thought, no, flipping over happens with these. Wrong cards. We're going to toss that to the side. And now we're going to have these spots over here where we could choose to pay cowrie shells to get provisions, but that doesn't really help us. What we really need right now is we need a white worker. Or we need more brick. No, we need a white worker. We don't have a white worker. This is a really bad sequence to start off with, but it is what it is. It's fine. We'll be getting more workers soon. I think. Yeah, I guess so. Alright, it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and we're going to place a worker over here to gather provisions, and then we're going to again spend 2 provisions to be able to buy this card, and this card into our grid over here. Although one thing you could do is you know what? I think I'm going to do that. Rather than buying this provision, I'm going to go ahead and discard it to get the worker. Another thing I forgot you can do is you can discard cards from this row. So I'm going to discard that right now instead of taking it in order to get the white worker right now. That's going to let us build a building, which should give us hopefully some degree of recurring revenue. So we're going to go ahead and build one of these buildings. I like getting this building out first personally. So we're going to pay in these, a white worker, a brick, and a wood. So we're going to pay those goods into the supply, and we're going to take one of these buildings, placing it down here, which gives us another cowrie shell, and hopefully allows us to start generating another person every single round, which is going to help our engine a bit. And that's going to be the end of the round. They're going to have the bad guys attack, so that's going to mean 2 bad guys have to attack in this case. Oh, you know what? I'm going to swap out which worker I placed there, because I'm going to pay this one to ignore that person, and pay this one to ignore that person, so we don't have to suffer their attacks. But we are then going to have to slide the card row over and put out new cards. So, new cards are coming out. We're going to go ahead and, again, move this down. We now have 3 enemies in play. This is rapidly escalating, as it tends to do in this game. These resources will come off. And now we're going to pull back this worker and generate our income, which means we're going to draw 1 card, shuffle up the rest of the deck. You know what? Maybe this round I should buy... You know what? I'm going to spend the 2 provisions to buy that 1 last card. And that way, because it's worth it when that last shuffle. You have a little more incentive to do so. So, we're going to shuffle up the deck over here with that extra card shuffled in, and draw 3 more cards. Now, because we shuffled up the deck, the wave is going to advance. So we have that happening against us as we try to be mindful of things, but we do have a whole lot more stuff coming our way this round, because we're going to get the following: 4 cards, a white worker, a cowrie shell, a provisions, another provisions from over this, and then another another black worker over here, another cowrie shell, and a clay or brick or whatever. And then lastly, over here, we have to choose a worker of our choice. And given the fact that I think blue seems to be the number that we really need some blue workers ASAP to take these baddies out. So we're going to go ahead and grab a blue worker from the supply, and that's going to be our pool of resources and stuff. So let's see what we can make work with this, because it's a bit more than we had before, but I feel like it's still not enough, unfortunately. We need more brick. I could get that brick. I could build a building. I could build a building. I think I should build a building. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get our hands on a brick with this. So that's going to be discarding this person, getting our hands on a brick. We could, of course, buy some of those cards for their instant use, but again, it wouldn't help us really get rid of anything right now, so I think we're still going to be playing delaying tactics right now. Speaking of which, well, let's leave those up there for a second. Let's pay in the 3 cowrie shells in order to go ahead and take another brick, because I want to go ahead and spend our white worker, our wood, and a white worker and a brick over here to build one of these, which is going to go there, giving us a provisions. That's going to flip this, which has draw a card. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. We're going to go ahead, and ironically that gives us the brick we would have needed. That goes off to the side. These go back to the supply. We should take that brick though, which will actually see the card in our hand. And that means we now have a new spot over here, which gives us some flexibility for these as well. So at this point we could choose to take down that baddie. Do we do so? That's an interesting decision, because I could choose to convert a person in to gain another worker. Let's see what we can do over here. So we're going to go ahead and let's place one of our red workers here. We don't need the red workers at all, so we're going to gather provisions, and we're going to gather a yellow worker. So we now have that in our supply. We could take this person out, so I think we're going to do so. We're going to place a blue, a yellow, and then discard this person to take a blue directly to here, which is going to allow us to take her out from the equation. We're going to pay the 2 provisions to fight her, and then we're going to draw a cowrie shell and a card. And so we have a bunch of cards going on over here. but we still need more spots. Oh, we could put a card down here, which is good. In fact, I'm going to place that blue one down here, which is going to give us recurring revenue of 1 blue worker. So we have that in play, and she can leave this pool. So she's gone. That's great. That's awesome. We're only dealing with 2 people, although we're still going to have to deal with it because we're going to have to deal with it. We're going to discard 2 provisions, take these cards over here, and put them into our supply, and then we still have these to deal with. So we're going to draw this, which will do 2 cowrie shells and 2 provisions for both these cards combined. Those are going to go over here. We're going to gather a wood and a black person over here. That should give us those, and these are all gone. And now let's take a little bit of an analyzing what's happening here. So what do we need to build the next building? Well, we need to clear the next canal thingy. What do we do to need the next canal thingy? We need another white worker. Can we get our hands on a white worker? Not as easily as you might think because of the revenue. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the next round. We have the income of next round. So the problem we have already is we need more white workers, unfortunately. That's something I didn't really think of quite as much. I'm going to have to figure out how to get my hands on a white worker. Hopefully one of my cards gives me a white worker, because otherwise we're in trouble. Do my cards give me white workers? I don't know. We're going to have to figure this out. Although I could take out one of them next round. So I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Basically, I'm realizing we need 2 white workers, and we only have 1 round to get that. But we'll do that. I think we're good on what our spend is. We could spend 2 provisions to go ahead and get 1 more person. Do I care to do that? Sure, we have provisions revenue. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's gather another person. Let's secure that. And then we're going to have them attack the board. So we're going to go ahead and pay 1 black worker to hold off their attack. And then this person's going to attack the board, and we can't do anything. So we'll lose this card over here, which fortunately is not a white worker. We're going to go ahead and shift these down and pull in another person. Ooh, her. I don't like her one bit. She is an absolute pain to deal with, but deal with her we will. Let's put these in play. Let's see what we got. Do we have any white worker generation? Any white worker generation? No. So we're going to rely heavily on this hand over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we got. So we draw 4 cards. We do not have a white worker. Unless we discard this card, we may end up doing so. We're going to grab a white worker. We're going to grab a cowrie shell and a provisions. We're going to move up here. We'll take a worker. I think let's take a blue worker. Okay, great. Then we move down. These 2 workers come back as well. We're going to move here and take a black and a blue worker. And then from over here, we're taking a provisions. And over here, we're taking a cowrie shell and a provisions, a cowrie shell, and a brick. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. And that's our resource pool. So a decent amount of resources, decent amount of workers at least, which is going to help us out to a degree. But let's see what we can do. So we have 3 provisions. That's not enough. I should not have spent the provisions from last round. Spending 2 last round was a mistake. That's going to hurt me here, but let's deal with it. Let's deal with it one step at a time. Let's move this person off over here. We have to take her out, otherwise she kills 2 people or denies 2 provisions. So she's worth killing almost always. I think we're going to go ahead and expend these 3 people over here. Dump them into the supply. Do we need black possibly? I don't think we do. We have black coming in. I think we're fine. Let's go ahead and get rid of a red instead of black because I have more reds. So we're going to discard these 3 over here to kill her, as well as discarding 3 provisions, which is all my provisions. I don't love that, but fortunately she does let you draw a card directly into your hand, which is fun. And that's going to give us some more opportunities and tools. Now the real question is, can we take out this? Because we have 2 blues, we can get a red, but we need 2 provisions to do so. Fortunately, by discarding these 2 cards, we can get our hands on 3 provisions. So we're going to take our 3 provisions, which is good, and then we're going to continue that by playing this card over here for a red. So we're going to get a red worker, and then we're going to pay in a red and 2... I'm in trouble. We're going to do this. We're going to pay a red and 2 thingies, and 2 provisions, and that's going to give us access to killing her. So that's going to give us the white worker, and the white worker is essential because it gives us a white and a cowrie shell, and she's gone, which is the main benefit of that. And the benefit of having the 2 white workers is we need that to be able to dump these on here and take that out of play. That was essential. That does unfortunately kill our next card, which is, oh, and that's where our white worker is, but we do get this cleared, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's going to accelerate the tempo. We're now drawing an extra card every round. But at the flip side is we now have another spot for a building as well. We don't have a white worker to build said building, although there's a possible ways to acquire them. Nah, not that I'm seeing easily here. Okay, so what else do we have access to as far as tools? We have another worker we want to generate. So we're going to generate a red worker, which is good because we're going to toss that red worker here and use it to generate a, let's generate a yellow worker. And then we're going to go ahead and pop this worker here to generate a provisions, which means we still are able, oh, the yellow worker will help us with them. That's a good plan. We're going to pay those 2 provisions, and we're going to acquire these 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, into our discard pile, which is great. And then we're going to discard him for a brick, which is also great. We're doing fine so far. We're doing fine. Also, I don't think I have this correctly. I still don't know what this spot means. Does this spot mean that instead of... I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. I don't know if this... We'll have to look into that. But we'll see. Because the symbol itself is your exhausted pile. So does it mean draw from your exhausted pile? Is that what that one means? I don't know. Anyways, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to suffer one attack. We're going to resolve the attack phase, which means we're suffering an attack, which means we're going to ignore that, fortunately, because we're going to put this person on there. Then we're going to go ahead and draw 2 new cards, which is where the tempo starts accelerating, because we're going to have these in play, which means we have to make sure our engine is up and running. See, this is an interesting game in the sense that very often when you play these styles of games, your goal is that the game is hurting you, and you have to get your engine up running faster than them. And if you can stay alive long enough, you can do that. In this game, there's a certain pressure point where if you move too far, your engine does not keep up with theirs. So you kind of want to hit a middle point, acquire resources, and then try to win. I say this with all the knowledge and expertise of having never won. But never winning does not mean we can't win, so let's move confidently forward and take our income. So, we're going to start by drawing a card, which means our old man. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up, and because we're shuffling up, the wave will advance, and the boat will return. We need to prep for that next one. Getting that next spot is key, because this is like really the tempo of where you can have your engine kind of matching theirs, but you need to be mindful of things slowly accelerating. You need to build up a stockpile of workers and then rush the end game. A stockpile of workers, like you don't want to use everything all at once. Just build them up, build them up. Okay, so we're going to do this over here. We're going to draw 3 more cards. 1, 2, 3. Those are our cards over here. We're going to continue taking revenue. 1 white worker, a cowrie shell, and a provisions. That's what we got over there. We got another worker over here, which we can go ahead and make a red worker. Let's make it a red worker. Why not? Okay, so we have our red worker. Speaking of which, we get these workers back, which gives us all that. We're going to move down to over here where we get a black worker and a blue worker. So we have our worker revenue coming in just fine. And over here we have another provisions, a cowrie shell, and a brick. So our brick engine's up and running, our resource engine up and running. We need to get some buildings in play. So I want to get another one of these buildings in play. We have the time to do so. Let's see what we can make happen. We have people, we have cards, we have all the good things. We need to take down the baddies too. So let's go ahead and start with placing a building in play. We're going to go ahead and discard a white worker, 3 brick, and a wood. And we're going to put that next building in play, which means this goes over here, which gives us a worker of our choice. Let's go ahead and take a yellow, because we're suspiciously shy on yellows. We're going to flip this over, and we have story beat 1 is happening, which means this is probably going in our exhausted pile of cards. Yep, here we go. The promised workers arrived this morning. Among them was a young man skilled and honorable in his trade. He has settled into the camp and will be valuable in the work ahead. Find card 10 in the story deck and add it to your hand. Ooh, what do we have over here? Card 10 is going to be this one. We add him to our hand. He's a useful worker, in theory. Let's find out. And that is basically that. Now we have this additional spot here, which again means more resources are now in play. We are going to go ahead and pay 2 provisions to take this person out, I believe. Do we have more provisions coming in? We have a drop. We're going to pay 2 provisions and take this person out. That's going to cost 2 reds and a black. And that person's gone, which gives us a cowrie shell and a white worker. So he is gone. Beautiful. Okay, we still have the other pools over there, and we need to get rid of this card as soon as possible, as soon as we possibly can. But we don't have the resources or tools just yet. We have a lot of wood if we want it, but what can I do with so much wood? Is there like a trade-in depot? Because I don't need this much wood. I think there's a trade-in depot. You can trade in over here, but that's way too far. By the time we get there, it's over. So that wood is just unhelpful. Which means, do I file the old man? You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to file the old man right now in order to accomplish this fish card over here. I'm going to tuck it on top of it, but we know that we need meat next. So we need meat next. We're filing the old man there because I just don't need that kind of... Although I could tuck under... You know what? We're going to tuck the yellow because I don't need that much wood either. I'm going to tuck the yellow under here to give us the yellow generation. That will help us there. And then from these cards... We still need more things happening, and I still need white workers. That's my biggest problem right now. Because I don't have another hut to build. If I could get more white workers from there, but it's not helping me right now. It's not helping me right now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we could have asked paid to discard one of those, but we're not going to do that. At least not right now. So, we're going to go ahead and take a red worker, build that up. We're going to take a wood, because we might need it later. I'm going to take a provisions and a cowrie. and that means we have a provisions which you can use to go ahead and buy one of these cards. We'll buy the white worker card and then the free card, giving us some more tools there. I wish we had enough to buy that one, but we don't. And so, oh, we could, of course we could. We can do it over here, and then boom, there's another card. Now we have 2 brick, which is much better. We're going to pop this down over here. This down over here, which will give us a red worker. No, I don't want to pop that one out. I'm going to pop this one over here, which will give us a yellow worker. That will help us for next round, taking out her. And then that should be a round. That should be good enough as far as our round is concerned. We're going to toss another person over here to take a resource of our choice. We could take brick, but Cowie might be better at this point. Because really we need just resources and provisions. And the Cowies, stockpiling the Cowies is certainly not a bad thing. Although at a certain point you run low on them. Or you run out of them. What do I do? What do I do? The brick? Do I do the brick? When we do that, we're going to need to kill 2 cards. I need the Cowies for that. I need 2 white workers for that as well. What else do I need? I think I'm fine with a brick. Let's take a brick. We're going to take a brick, okay? So we're going to go ahead and take a brick, which might be overkill, but at least we're going to be spending on him anyway, so we'll find it out. So that's going to be that. That's going to be the round. We're going to go ahead and pay in that to avoid the attack. Pay in that to avoid the attack. So both attacks are avoided. And now we go ahead and draw 2 new cards, which is where, again, the escalation has occurred, because now we have to deal with 2 cards around, which is just a resource economy we can barely keep up with. But we can try. We can see what happens. We just need to make sure that we don't ever draw 3 cards around, because that's when we get in trouble. On that last round, you're drawing 4 cards, which is absolutely brutal. So it's time for the stock up. We're going to go ahead and pull our workers back over here. We're going to get our income generation, which is 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to not get any white workers there, unfortunately, which we would have loved to get. We have a white worker. We have a Cowie. We have a provisions. That's going to be our stack of stuff over there. We have a worker of our choice in terms of color, which I think we might do a red. Yeah, sure. Let's do a red. Let's see what happens over there. Let's grab a red over here. Then we go down to over here, where we get a black worker and a blue worker and a yellow worker. So that's a nice degree of worker generation coming in every round. And then over here, we go ahead and take a provisions. So we take another provisions, as well as a Cowie shell and a brick. So we got a whole lot of stuff. Time to spend those Cowie shells like there's no tomorrow. Let's figure this out. Starting off the bat, we're going to take out the very first person over here. That's going to be 2 yellows and a blue. Turning to the supply, we're going to pay in 2 Cowie shells. Not pay in, we're going to pay in 2 provisions as well. And we're going to get back 2 Cowies and a wood. This is where we need to start spending those Cowies, because we have now exceeded the supply of Cowie shells. We're going to pay in 4 Cowie shells in order to take 2 provisions, because that's using that resource trade in over there. And now we can take in the next worker out. And we can do that by putting a black worker over here, which will generate a yellow, generate a red. And then with the reds and the yellows, we can take out this next person over here, and then 2 provisions as well. So we're going to do that and take them out too, and then get 3 more Cowie shells, which is nice, except again, what are we doing with all these? Now we really want another worker. We want more white workers, but I don't see a way to get them unless we discard to trade for that, which is not what I want to do. It's what I'm willing to do, but not what I want to do. We need more provisions. We need more everything. Can I take out another? Oh, interesting. Maybe I could do that. If I have enough provisions, we could do that. We could ramp up aggressively. Let's do it. Okay, so this one over here, although we have, these are just wood. These ones cost wood, which means they're not really a pressure point on me. But I really need a white worker. So do we try to... The problem is if I do that, I still can't build this round. So is there really a strong incentive to do it? I don't think there is. So I think we're going to go ahead and trade in 2 provisions and 2 more provisions. So 2 Cowie shells in order to get 4 Cowie shells in order to get 2 provisions. I'm going to use those provisions and all of these to buy all of these cards, putting them into my discard over here, which will help. We're going to have 2 more cards coming out, but I don't mind paying the wood on them. We're going to go ahead and generate another. Do I generate more wood? I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, sure. We have those cards. Nah. Let's generate a clay. Let's generate a clay. We'll use that to build the next building. And then we're going to generate a provisions over here, because those are helpful. And that's, I think, good enough for this round. I don't think anything's happening, but we still have these over here. So we're going to generate 3 provisions from these characters. That's going to be helpful. And then, were any of those meat-based? That one is a meat-based one. You know what? We're going to pay back a provisions, and we're going to handle this card, which means we beat story point. No, we get a Cowie. We get a Cowie, and we just need 1 wheat to kill this card over here. Okay. I feel in control, but honestly, that feeling has happened before and has not worked out well for me. We're going to trade in a red and a that to get those, and that should be the round, which means they're going to attack us. We're going to pay in 2 wood, 1 wood, 1 wood, and prevent the attacks. And then we're going to spawn 2 new people, and then deal with the fact that we also have to put 3 more people in play on our end over here, which is going to trigger a reshuffling. Now this is where we need to make sure we kill at least 3 people around. I don't think we have a choice. We're slowly accelerating on our worker generation. We have things semi in control, but we're going to need to stockpile. We need to get those white workers ASAP. I know which building I have to do next. I think it's going to be one of these, this one over here. I need that additional white worker every single round. We're going to put this into play over here, and we got another white worker generation there. I'm going to start the income generation, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 cards over there. We have 1 more round to go before we have to deal with that, but I think we're fine to deal with it this round too. We're going to take back our workers. We're going to take a white worker. We're going to take a what's it called? A cowrie. We're going to take a provision. And then we're going to go over here, take a worker of our choice, which will make a yellow. And then we're going to go down here, black, yellow, and blue. Black, yellow, and blue into our giant worker pile, which is getting nice, and I'm very confident with this pile. And then we go over here where we take a provisions, a brick, and a cowrie. So we got nice stocks of things piling up over here, and it's time to take out the baddies. So let's spend some cowrie shells on things we want, which I think is primarily provisions. So we're going to spend, 4 cowrie shells to get 2 more provisions, because that's always helpful. And then that way we have cowrie shells back in the supply. And then we're going to start the process of taking down this over here. Now we do need, I think we have to buy that white worker this round. Let's figure out one step at a time. We're going to do those 2 and those 2 in order to attack this over here, which is going to unfortunately kill 2 cards back to the supply, which is the white worker and the wheat that we needed, but it is what it is. And we are going to get a brick and a wood. Okay, so we have that going for us. This card goes away, and it's done, and now we have this new spot unlocked, but we're going to use a white worker. In order to do that, we need to get a white worker. So I'm going to pay up provisions to get rid of this card and take the white worker now instead of benefiting from it later. We're going to use that white worker as well as a brick, as well as a thing to go ahead and build this hut over here, which is going to give us 8 provisions. So we now have an additional white worker coming to us per round, which is very helpful, I'd argue essential as far as getting our engine up, because we just don't have that white worker generation right now. Then from there, I guess you can make an argument that I should have, do I want to make the argument that flexibility is everything? Do I want the extra white worker, or do I want... That's an interesting conversation. You see, because what I could do is we have enough black workers coming in that maybe flexing this into a white would be better. So let's do that. Let's swap that around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay the extra wood. Okay, this costs 2 extra wood. So I'm going to get that wood here and pay this wood here. That's going to allow us to, let's put this over here. No, what am I doing? I'm putting this over here. And that means I'm going to swap that building out for the black one. So now we have a little bit more cowrie generation instead of work generation, but we have a lot of flexibility, which I think is a good thing. We're going to pay 2 yellows and a red to take out this person over here. And that's going to be 2 provisions to do so. And it's going to give us 3 cowries. And then we are going to pay 2 blacks and a blue to take out the person behind him, along with another 2 provisions, and that's going to give us another 3 cowries. So we are doing fine on taking out the people, keeping pace with things so far, but again, things are going to ramp up shortly. So these are both gone. We've done those. We've done that. We have all the buildings we can in play, and we can't do more. We do have these 3 people left, which I think we're going to just, we could, you know what, let's go ahead and do these. We're going to generate 2 black people over here. And that's going to be these cards, and then we have to make a choice as to whether we want to take out that card. It costs 1 provision to deal with. May as well just take it out. May as well just take it out, or not. Does the math work out in my favor? I don't know if it does. Let's go ahead and generate a provision and a cowrie with her. And then the problem part is we could afford to take it out. Let's go ahead and buy these 2 cards over here, putting them into my discard, and being mindful of being on top of that. Now, we could afford to take it out, but does it benefit me to do so? It costs me provision now, it costs me provision later. We anyways have it. I think it's the same net difference. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pay 2 blacks and a blue and 3 provisions, which is going to be enough to take out that last card. So we are getting ahead of the curve again. And it's going to give us a white worker and a cowrie shell. The very last cowrie shell, which means right about now we want to trade that in. We're going to trade in 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to get our hands on 3 provisions for next turn. That helps line us up nicely. And now this last card's left, and we're going to pay a brick to avoid them attacking us. That's the row. 2 more cards are going to come out. We are finally ahead of the thing again. We killed 3 and only 2 came out. We're going to put out new cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4 new cards are in play. So we have a very full deck. We are going to have the wave advance though, because we are now going to do revenue, which means the wave advances because I only have 3 cards. The boat comes back and we go 1, 2, and 3. Those are going to be the cards, and then we get to shuffle and pull out. Oh, one more card would have been helpful. Did I have one more card? No, I think I bought everything. I think that row is mostly clear. It is what it is. I like getting that extra turn in, basically. Although we do have the meat situation, so we are going to clear that hunger card. Whether or not we win the game is a whole different conversation, but we are going to clear the hunger card. Okay. I think right now we want to stockpile workers. I think I want to power through. I don't think I can keep up with 3 a turn. So I'm going to start stockpiling workers to try to make this work. You can only do 1 per turn. You can only do 1 canal section per turn, so you have to accelerate towards 3 turns in a row. Okay, let's find out. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and do this. So we have the following. We're going to take him. We're going to finish off the meat section because I don't think we need that revenue, which means we get to read 23. I don't know why I did that. That's not meat. We already did the meat. We have to do that. I'm sorry. I got excited there. And I don't want to give it my 2 provisions person because that person is worth it. In fact, we're going to go ahead and give that person up to get a item to the rest of my income. We need a white, we need a cowrie, and we need a provision plus another cowrie because we have that purple building. So provision, cowrie, we need a black, yellow, and blue. Over here, we need a provision and provision, and then a cowrie and a brick. And that should be our revenue stream. So we have no wood coming in, which we will eventually need, but we generally have people who give us wood, so I'm not overly concerned about that. We have a bunch of workers over here, so that's good over there. Now we need to figure out how to make the engine work. Did I get my workers back from the supply? I feel like I must have, because otherwise, yeah, I think I did. I think I pulled them back from here properly. Anyways, let's go ahead and do it. We're going to grab 2 provisions and a black worker. That's going to go into our pool here. 2 provisions and a black worker. We are now prepped to start taking people out. We don't have a red worker, which is interesting. Usually we do. Oh, I didn't take my worker of my choice. Let's take a red worker. Okay. We're going to then pay 2 blacks and a red to take out the closest pirate person, as well as 2 provisions. I don't know why I called him a pirate person, but whatever. Baddie. We'll do that. That's going to kill him. He's going to have us draw a card and take a cowrie. So we're going to draw a card and see what we got. We got another provisions person. This one could be, again, the wheat generation, but I want the actual wheat. I don't want to give up wheat right now. So we're going to go ahead and discard him for 2 provisions, because that's going to be essential. We could take out the next baddie, which I think we'll do, because they want white people, which we don't want to do. So we're going to toss a black onto here, which will give us, let's toss a blue onto there. We'll toss a blue onto here, which will give us a yellow, which we can then use 2 yellows and a black to take out. Am I fine here? I think I'm fine here. Yeah, we're going to do that to take out that person there, as well as 3 provisions. 3 provisions. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's 3 provisions over there. And now this person is done with. They're going to give us a cowrie and a card draw as well. So cowrie plus card draw. I hope the card draw gives me a white worker. It does. Beautiful. We're going to discard that. We're going to take a white worker. Although arguably I want more white workers anyway. Do I hold on to him? You know what? We're going to hold on to him for a second. We might discard him still, but let's hold on to him for a second. Let's go ahead and take these 3 people over here. Can I do this? Can I justify it? I don't know. We're going to take these 3 people over here. Do I want another round of prep? I think I want another round of prep before I accelerate the next card. I want to be walking into it very confident. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think so. Okay, we're going to go ahead and discard this over here, taking that person over there. We're going to take the 3 brick from these people, because is that worth right now, or do I want the person? Do I trash the person to get the person? Mayhaps. Let's start by doing this. Let's go ahead and pay in 1 provision, 2 provisions, 3 provisions, in order to go ahead and pay these in and take these. Okay, so these are now in play over here. We could discard 2 provisions to get the next blue worker, but I don't think that helps us. We're going to discard her to take a worker of any color, and we'll go ahead and grab a red. Why not? Let's grab a red, and then we're going to take the 2 brick as well. So we trash in that card. And then we're going to, I guess we'll just pay this card just to take a brick, because let's go ahead and line up all the brick in the world. That won't help us right now until eventually we get over there, where it could help us a little bit. We need to trade in some cowries to get some more provisions. In fact, we'll go ahead and, there's no rush right now, so we'll trade in 2 cowries, and just trade in 2 more cowries, and take 2 provisions. Okay, so, things are going well so far. He wants 2 cowries. Do I just let him have that? 2 calories equals 1 provision. Yeah, I'll let him have it. Yeah, I'll let him have it. Okay, so we are ready for the next round, which means it's time to go ahead and accelerate. I could do this. I just don't think my engine is up fast enough yet. Or is it? I want to be able to do a 1, 2, 3 hit. And I don't know if I can while pushing people back. So I think I want one more turn of build up, and then let's do the 1, 3 hit. Okay, so we have those workers. Oh, speaking of which, we need to go ahead and put this here and here to get a provisions and let's say a wood. Wood would be helpful. Great. Okay, we're going to take everything back, pull them back now. We got all of that, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Did I pay those calories? I don't think I did. I'm going to pay the 2 calories in order to not have him hurt us. We're going to slide this down. We're going to pull 2 new baddies, and then slide this down, and shuffle this up, where we are running out of people, actually. I don't know if I've ever had that happen yet. So I think we're doing fine on this degree of, well, whatever. We're going to go ahead and pop this into play, and this into play, and then we're going to start the end game, I think. Okay, we are going to discard her. Okay, she's going to allow us to read 23 over there. That's going to be the wheat we need, and we're going to read 23 and see what happens. Our stores only just managed to get us through the winter, but every stomach is full and the workers are healthy enough to carry on our work. I have assigned more foragers to search wider for resources. We have come a long way to redeem the losses from the fire that swept through our camp, but there's still need for more. Each year the camp grows, as does the mouth to feed. With all the comings and goings, it's hard to find time to figure out just how the fire started. I have assigned Bo Yi, my faithful and dedicated assistant, to investigate. He seems to believe we are still losing food from the store and has made it his mission to solve this trouble for me. Still no sign of demon monkeys. File the completed shortage food coverage under history, so this is gone. Place the townsfolk cards that were on the food shortage card into the townfolk discard pile. That's going to be over here. That's the townfolk versus exhausted. Find card 27 and put it into other, So there's more food shortages. Find card 27. So 27 is going to be over here. And let's see what this one is. This is going to be more food shortages we have to deal with, although this one with an extra degree of story to each individual part. So that's that card done. We've now achieved one of our victory conditions, so to speak, and it's time to go ahead and continue this process. We are going to go ahead and generate 2 red people. That's going to be helpful. We're going to generate a provisions and a calorie. Again, helpful. Did I do all my stockpile? I think I did. Okay. Now we have to take some baddies out. We're going to take out this baddie over here, which is going to be very helpful. We're going to spend 2 provisions to do so, and then we're going to get 2 calories and a wood, which is good because we're totally short on supplies, he says sarcastically. We're going to toss that over there, and then we have the rest to go through. I think we are going to start the process of heading towards the end game, so we're going to take 3 white workers, and can I afford to do this? I'm going to do this. Did I take, I don't know if I didn't take my resources this turn. I couldn't possibly take my resources this turn. If I took my resources this turn, then where are my yellow, blue, and black workers? I didn't take my resources. What did I do? I had yellow, blue, and black. No, I had those 2 reds and a blue. I think I had all that. That was my hand of cards. I did my hand of cards. I didn't do my resources. So, resources. We're going to generate a white worker. We're going to generate a cowrie and a provisions. We're going to generate another cowrie from the purple over there. We're going to generate a white, yellow, and black worker. There we go. This feels much better. We're going to generate a brick and a cowrie, as well as a provisions. Okay. And then we need a worker of our choice, which we'll generate a... We'll generate a blue or a yellow or a black. We'll generate a black. Okay. Then I'm going to pay those 2 yellows and the blue to kill that like I did already. That part's all fine. And now this is our actual pool. We're going to pay in 3 whites and 2 calories to take that out. So now we're starting the end game. We're ramping it up. We cannot build another one, and we need to get a wood and a brick. We're now at max brick capacity. And then we're going to kill 2 people, unfortunately, which means we're going to lose these 2 over here. And this is now done. Okay, we now have that where we can now spend calories to buy people, which is helpful. We also have 2 new hut spots, which again is helpful. But the question is, do we build the huts or do we just ramp the end game? I think I'm going to ramp the end game. Or at least try to. Can I do it? Let's find out. Okay, so we are going to go ahead now and deal with this hut over here, which means we need a blue worker, which we don't have right now, but we can get one by going here and taking a blue worker. And then we're going to take out that person with those and 3 provisions. So we have that happening. He's done, which means 2 calories and a wood. 2 calories and a wood is now in play. and that person's now done. We are done on that. We've stayed ahead of the curve so far. We could do 2 blacks and yellow to take out the last person, which I think we're going to do. We're going to pay 2 blacks and a yellow. We're going to also have these 2 provisions, plus paying in 2 calories for our next provision, which means we can take him out and take 2 calories and a brick. Sadly, there's nothing we can do with brick, but that's okay. That's okay. We can deal with that. So we'll just take the 2 calories. We have max brick capacity. These go back into the supply. And now we have our 1 solitary worker left. These are also gone, by the way. Okay, from there, we now have, did I pay those twice? No, I didn't. Okay, we are good on that. We're going to go ahead and buy a person. We're going to go ahead and pay in 2 calories for provisions and buy a person. Play in 2 calories for a person and buy a person. Then we're going to pay in 4 calories for a white person. And then use that white person to go on here. And here, we will take a provisions as well as a calorie. And I think that is doing pretty well as far as the economy of things over here. I think so. I think we're doing pretty fine. We've cleared out those. We now have the flood will advance shortly, but we are ahead of the curve, and we have enough generation coming in that we should be able to handle things and ramp the end game. Let's find out. So we have 3 cards generating this round. We're going to pull things back. We're going to pull this card down here and generate 3 baddies, which means it's time for us to shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. I didn't build buildings intentionally. Do I want to build buildings? Before I shuffle, do I want to build buildings? If I build a building, what will it do for me? Well, yeah, let's build a building. Let's build a building, obviously, because here, let's do the math over here. If I build this building, I'll get that white worker back, and we have plenty of these anyway. So I'm going to build that building offhand. That one's going to give me that over here, which will give me a red person right off the bat. And then I could do the same logic by building another building, which would give me a provisions every single round. I don't know if that's as essential, but it might prove to be essential. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to build another building, pay in another white worker, and another this and this, because we are overflowing on that. And we're going to put this building over here, which gives us a black person, which effectively treats as a white person. So I think the math on that works well. So we're good on the building buildings. It just pure mathematically just works out in my favor. Okay, even by a small margin. Whatever. We're going to go ahead and shuffle this up and put these out in play. And now we have our 3 people who got generated, and we have to generate this over here, which again means once more a quick, rapid shuffle of these. And we have our person there. Even though we got rid of him, he's back. Old man. And now we're time for income generation. So we're going to draw 4 cards. Hopefully we're going to do our income prop this round. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that's what we have as far as this goes. And okay, we have this done over here, and now it's time for things. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to generate our income. We're going to go ahead and pop this up in play. We're going to pop, let's do this. So white, provisions, and one of our choice, which will do a yellow. I think based on the board over there, we need the yellow. Then we do the provisions over here, the cowrie shell, and then the other cowrie shell over here. And then we're going to go ahead and do our yellow, black, and blue worker over here, followed by our cowrie shell over here, and then our brick and our other cowrie shell over here. So this should be our income generation, plus of course our hand of cards. Now we're going to put this back because that's part of the game, and we're going to try to build that out right away. So we're going to build this into play, which means 2 whites and these over here, plus 3 cowrie shells. We've built the next canal offhand, so we're fine there, but we need to be mindful of things approaching on the end game over here. This card's going to go away. We gain a brick, not that we need it, and we lose 3 cards, and that's the harder part. So these 3 cards go away, and then we complete that canal section. Okay, that is done, and we are ahead of the canal at this point, and we have options on the table. But past that, we still have a lot of things to be mindful of. So we need a blue worker, which will generate through this person over here. Although, do we want to build multiple blues at this point? Multiple blues could be helpful. You know what? We're going to trash them for multiple blues. We're going for the endgame rush. So multiple blues are in play right now, and we're going to generate 2 yellows and a blue, along with 2 provisions to take out the first person there. Okay, so she's now done. She's going to generate a cowrie and a white worker for us. So she is gone. We're going to take out the next one. Well, we can't yet. But we could take out this one over here. We're going to have 2 provisions plus a cowrie, and that's going to be these. So that's going to be our 3 provisions to take them out. We have our black worker, we have a blue worker, and then we're going to go ahead and toss this one over here to get another blue worker. So that's going to be another blue worker, and now he's done, and that's 3 cowrie shells. Okay, so we got another worker down over here. That part's fine, and I don't even think we need to take out the next one. We just need to survive till the next round. So I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and generate these people over here. They're going to generate a black and a yellow, and then we're going to generate a red from over here. That means we have a bunch of supplies coming in, and that is as far as that. We could take out the yellow in theory if we want. Can we afford to do so? Let's do so because it buys us some breathing room. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gives us a provision. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That buys us all the provisions we need to buy her. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to do a yellow and a black. We just need one more yellow. We're going to do that by trading in this and a provisions for a yellow. And if you're like, where'd you get the provisions from? I'm going to go over here and take that provisions. That means that's now done, and she's done, which means she's going to generate a card draw and a cowrie. We still have one person left who's going to give us the cowrie over there, and she's done. And then we're going to trade this in to over here to get a cowrie and a provisions. Hopefully you follow that. It seems legit to me, but I could be wrong. But I think we're good. I think we're good. Which means now we're on to the next round, which means we're going to go... Oh, wait, we need to buy some stuff. Let's go ahead and buy this card over here. And then, sure, let's go ahead and buy this card over here. Why not? Okay, we're done with that. We paid that. And then we slide this down, and we draw 3 cards, and the canal comes back. 1, 2, 3. I think we're fine, because we're gonna, as long as we can take out these 3 people, or even one of them, even if we take out one of them, I think we're fine. I think we have the game, because now we're going to go ahead and generate. So we're going to generate a card over here, which means we now advance the canal, and nothing else happens. These, by the way, have to shift down. They already, did I buy them? Yeah, they already shifted down. Put one over there, and one over there. And this is going to be the last round, where we just simply fight off the horde, draw that, and then draw 4 cards, which means we are fine. I'd be shocked if we're not fine at this point. I think the math just has it. We have all the resource generation we need, and we don't need to kill anyone. We could kill 0 people this round and still be fine. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to generate our resources. 2 white people over here, that's going to be essential. Our brick over here, our provisions and cowrie, and then second cowrie, our yellow, blue, and black. Yellow, blue, and black, our provisions, and then our cowrie over there. And now that should be enough for us to immediately, and then take these back too, which is helpful. We're going to place this, 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 and this over here, along with 3 cowrie shells, and that should be enough for us to clear that, and for us to win the game. We shouldn't need to do anything else at this point. We could if we want to, so I may try to. I may try to for the sake of just trying to unlock these cards, which could be helpful, because there are ways that that is helpful to do so. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to generate a white worker, and try to advance the story further. We're generating that. And that's going to give us 3 brick, a wood, and a white worker. It's going to allow us to build one of these, which will give us a blue worker. And then we can flip this over and see we got story beat 11. So let's see what we got for story beat 11, because these could help you in the game. So at this point, it's about the progression. So story beat 11 is going to go over here, and let's see what we got. While walking amongst the workers today, I spoke with a forester who had the most wonderful ideas about the ways we are using the trees we fell as we dig. This will surely make our work easier as we move down the river. File the constructed hut card in the box, find card 40, and put it into the huts and canals. Find card 40. Okay, so we have, ooh, this is a useful one. Ooh, cool. I think, is it useful? I'm not entirely sure. Either way, we're going to go ahead and put that down over there, and we'll see what we got. That, for the record, by the way, we got this card here for a 1 to 2 canal. So maybe they're easier. I have to double check, or maybe it's just giving you more resources. It's making a drop easier and less likely that we'll have people dying. Now, if we can do the last hut, that'd be awesome. I don't know if we can, but we should be able to. Of course we can. We can go ahead and discard this over here to generate, again, a... Oh no, we need a white person. So we need 4 cowries. So 4 cowries can generate a white person. We need 1 more cowrie in order to do that. So we can go ahead and... Oh, we have a black people are white people in this game. So because of that. So we have these over here. That's going to be this. That's going to be this over here. That there. And we can see if this is another story beat. It's not. It's merely a cowrie, which means that is that. We're going to go ahead and clear the round. This is going to have 4 new people generate. I'm not going to bother trying to kill them. But when done so, we achieve victory, which means we get our first victory card. Our first victory card, which has us reading story beat 15. Beloved Tushanshi, today was an auspicious day. The canals we have been working so hard to complete are starting to show their merit. This region's floods have been tamed, and many villages will flourish in their protection for this year at least. This celebration is only tempered by my long absence from you. I do wish it was not so, but my duty is to my emperor. I am also troubled. In my focus to complete the canals, I have neglected the peace of the surrounding clans. While they will benefit greatly from the completion of these works, the charismatic voices of the centers attract more and more people to their cause, and stronger barbarians rise up to lead them. I fear in the year to come I will face foes of greater might and greater numbers. All I can do is hold strong. Without peril, one does not acquire peace. File the victory card in the box under history. Find cards 6 to 9 in the story deck. 6 to 9. That's not good. It looks like we have worse enemies to fight. Find cards 6 to 9, shuffle them a barbarian draw deck. These barbarians do not cause damage and cannot be bribed. However, the increased amount of barbarian cards need to be added when refreshing the card row each round. So if you don't take these people out, they're going to increase the count. So you need to be mindful of that as you go through it, which is kill them basically. Kill them quickly. And that is that. So we have that little fun little treasure to go through. And that's going to be Legacy of You. This was the third gameplay. My first win. Playing correctly does help. And then past that, you can see more gameplays over on Cam Co-op. I'll throw a link to that down below. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. And I hope you have a good one.